for a cumulative of $1,457,026.41.
Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I have a clip for you from a new judge for my channel. His name is Judge Gerald Prill, and he is at the 52nd Circuit Court in Michigan. He is sentencing a defendant who has a gambling addiction. The problem is this man was a very well-respected banker, and the temptation was just too strong. I'll let you guys be the judge.
People of the State of Michigan versus Charles Allen Wright, file number 237010FH, time and date set for sentencing. Mr. Wright is in the courtroom, represented by attorney Michael Morosky, who is also in the courtroom. People are represented by prosecuting attorney Timothy J. Rakowski. Back on on October 23rd of this year, last year, I should state, the defendant, Mr. Wright, had pled guilty to embezzlement $100,000 or more, as well as false pretenses $1,000 to $20,000. A pre-sentence report has been prepared by Mr. Nathan Licht from Adult Probation. That's dated November 3rd, 2023. There are a number of letters that have been submitted as well, including letters from Henry Williams, Michelle Malkin, M-A-L-K-I-N, Gina Burkhardt, Lynette Perutsky, Travis Janoski, Thomas Jacobs, Tracy Boggle, Sandra Donaldson, Greg Kranz, Nicole Leisure, Anthony Woodwaski, Austin Burton, Heidi Bogan, Melissa Guzzo, Peyton Brawlett, Rick Glaza, Bill Sweeney, Marty Swartzendruber, Mindy Rambo, and James Becker. Mr. Morosky, have you and your client had the opportunity to review the pre-sentence report?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are there any additions, deletions, corrections, or objections to the report other than guidelines?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Wright, do you agree with that, sir? Mr. Rakowski, any objections to the report as well as guidelines?
No, Your Honor. As it relates to the guidelines, Mr. Morosky and I have scored the guidelines, and we've agreed that the sentencing range is 15 to 25 months.
Thank you. Any objection regarding the guidelines, Mr. Morosky?
No, Your Honor.
What would you like to say on behalf of Mr. Wright before the court imposes sentence?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright comes before this honorable court with no prior criminal history. As it's been shown, he struggled with gambling addiction. He's been forthcoming with the court. He's been forthcoming with the investigation the whole time. At some point, this addiction took over, and Mr. Wright let that addiction take over, Your Honor. Since that, and since this investigation has concluded or started, it has destroyed everything that he has worked for. Since this incident, as evidence, he's had a lot of community support, family support. We've had a letter from Dr. Malkin and the destructiveness of gambling addiction and how it affects people's lives. And Mr. Wright recognizes that. He has taken steps to deal with that issue and has confronted it head on. Since the incident, he has not missed 1 week of Gamblers Anonymous, as shown in the letters of support. There are several letters from people from his Gamblers GA group. The first thing he did is take himself off of any type of gambling by signing up for the Gambling Responsible Data website to take him off. He's endured counseling sessions where he learned and discovered things about himself and how destructive gambling is. And he continues to work with his counselors and understand how and why he got in that position and how and what he's going to do to never be in that position again, Your Honor. He understands the amount of restitution is very high. He has worked 2 jobs since this incident. And at this time, Your Honor, we're asking the court to go below the guidelines and sentence Mr. Wright to 1 year in county jail. And if Mr. Wright is sentenced to a sentence in the Michigan Department of Corrections, we'd ask that he be allowed the special alternative incarceration program, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Morosky. Does your client wish to address the court?
He does.
Right? Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. I owe a huge apologies to everybody that affected over the last numerous years. And as my program has taught me, I've got to make amends to everybody, and I plan on making amends to everybody. To North Star Bank, to everybody there. That was a job that I loved that I screwed up because of my addiction, and I'm not using my addiction as an excuse for what I did, but in the last 11 months in jail, I've learned that that's the reason for my problem that I faced. I owe all these people behind me huge apology. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Rakowski, on behalf of the people, and this is a victim's rights case.
It is. I've discussed the case with the representatives from the bank. They're asking for the restitution. As far as the pre-sentence report, it's accurate. It lays out everything. We just asked that in reviewing the police report or the pre-sentence investigative report, that you fashion fair and just sentence.
You're welcome. Stipulated guideline range between the parties is 15 to 25 months. Could be much worse. The reason it could be much worse is because of the amount of money involved in this case. And the restitution request at this point appears to be $327,000, nearly $328,000 in money owed to the bank as a result of the behavior of the defendant. In the description of narrative in this case, at one point it states that the amount involved in this report was $626,789.58 for a cumulative of $1,457,026.41. Straw loans, fraudulent loans, gambling activity, elder financial exploitation. Regarding an individual well respected in the banking field up until obviously now. That's the unfortunate part about this, because we look up to individuals that work hard for a living and try to do what's right for the people in the community at large. And obviously up until recent, Mr. Wright was just doing that, just doing his job. And whatever came over him over this time frame, I can't explain, because I mean, talking about the biting the hand that feeds you, the bank was more than, they not only respected, in my opinion, just looking at the years of experience you've had, Mr. Wright, they trusted you. That's what's most important here, and you defied that trust. And there's no one in this room that can be blamed other than you. The letters of support from family and friends are well received, and the court read every single letter. That's why I mentioned every single individual. I respect the letters that were written in this case, but I have to balance that with the public interest and sentencing guideline ranges and all of that in fashioning an appropriate sentence in this case. Also, the other troubling thing about this case, to be very honest with you, are the third parties that were affected. Not only the bank, but individuals, that family members that loans were taken out of. Names were used to take loans out. Other individuals almost appear like they're backing you up, when in fact the loan was a sham. And that's just not a way to run a railroad, unfortunately. And I'm not making light of it. I'm not being disrespectful. But we have a very intelligent individual before the court with a Bachelor of Arts degree, 58 years of age, no prior record. As I stated, had the guideline range been what it could have been, it'd be much, much, much more significant for Mr. Wright. Balancing the interest of the offense involved, looking at the individual, looking at like cases, it will be the sentence of this court that the defendant be committed to the Michigan Corrections Commission and placed in the commission's custody for a period of 2 years, 1 month, this is count 1, to a maximum of 20 years, no credit for time served. Most importantly, restitution is owed in the amount of $327,957.68 to North Star Bank. The defendant is to execute a wage assignment to pay that restitution if he's employed and misses 2 regularly scheduled payments. Crime victims assessment of $130, DNA testing of $60, state cost of $68. No attorney fees. Count 2, false pretenses. Guideline range is 11 months. 11 months in the county jail, credit for no time served, $68 in state costs will be ordered. Mr. Wright, court doesn't enjoy imposing a sentence like this. But looking at the amount involved and looking at your behavior and looking how this all went down, or to staying within the guideline range, number 1. Number 2, looking at and considering the fact that the court could go much higher based upon what the guideline range could have been. It's my duty to inform you of the right to seek leave to appeal. If you're financially unable to provide counsel of your own choice, court will assign counsel for your public expense. You are to initial the receipt and questionnaire form requesting the assignment of counsel, both of which must be executed under oath and filed with the clerk of the court within 42 days. Managed custody of the sheriff.
That cumulative total is just astronomical to me. That's close to $1.5 million in fraudulent loans, straw loans, elder financial exploitation, the embezzlement from the bank. He probably got a second mortgage on his home if he owns a home that he can't pay back. Loans from family and friends. You know, he probably wiped out all of his savings, his 401k and his IRAs if he had them. I'm sure he did. He worked for a bank. And I have a feeling that retribution amount of $328,000, that's just what's in this criminal case. There's probably going to be some civil litigation for other loans, other amounts that he got fraudulently, people's names that he used to take out loans. Just crazy. And I'm sure he thought, well, if I win this one, I'll be able to pay back that. And, you know, just one more big win and I can pay that off. And it never works. So anyway, I thought you guys would like something a little bit different. Thank you so very much for watching. And as always, I'll see you next time.